I found something on my husband's laptop that I shouldn't have. When I showed it to his mom, she told me to immediately call the cops on her son. I thought my husband was the most honest and hard-working person on earth, but I don't know how I'm supposed to tell my kids what their father planned to do to me. I met my husband right in the middle of my 20s. I was fresh out of college and working as an intern at a highly praised tech company that I can't name for legal reasons. I wasn't getting paid for the internship, so I was working at a local coffee shop just so I could sustain myself. I had one other coworker there named Aiden who told me he had been working there for 6 years. I asked him what his end goal was and he told me he had dreams of being a freelance photographer. We used to talk about our dreams and the things that we would do if we came into money, and that's what our entire friendship revolved around: dreams. I told him all I really wanted in life was a functional family because the way I grew up left me scarred and I had this constant yearning for a redo. Aiden and I had kissed once, but I decided not to pursue anything else with him because I knew settling down so quickly at the start of my career was a bad move. Also, I always felt guilty talking to him because I knew that I would eventually quit the coffee shop and would have a high salary position while he'd probably still be there. When it did become time for me to quit the coffee shop, I left a note on a napkin with my number saying to stay in contact and left it for Aiden. I did it as a courtesy, not thinking much would come out of it. When I got my new position, I felt finally settled and financially secure. I was able to move to a penthouse after the first 3 months and my life seemed like it was on the rise. Everything that was peaceful in my life turned upside down when Aiden showed up at my doorstep. I saw him on my Ring camera and I was so confused about how he found my address. When I asked him, he told me that he had a friend who lived in the same complex that recognized me. I would later find out this was a lie. It turned out he paid $120 online for a people search and looked me up with my phone number. He told me that very day that he loved me and had been missing me ever since I quit the coffee shop. If I could go back in time and stop myself, I would have, but I ended up confessing having feelings for him even though I didn't. I guess I wanted comfort from being alone in such a big place in a big city, so I took things further with him. I thought we had a beautiful relationship at first. He was a stay-at-home guy and would cook and clean around the place while I was at work. In return, I had a goal of helping him accomplish his dream. I bought him a bunch of camera gear and ended up setting him up with a coworker of mine who did freelance photography as a side hustle. He took Aiden under his wing and taught him everything he knew about the business, and eventually Aiden got his own business and started partnering with different news stations, taking pictures across the country. I remember before his first international photography trip, I told him that I wanted him to hold up his end of the deal and help me accomplish my dream. When he came back from his trip, he came back with a ring and proposed to me. Fast forward 11 years later, Aiden and I were living together outside of the city. I had moved jobs because for some odd reason, my coworkers stopped talking to me and I was recommended to be placed at a different location. My boss insisted that it was for my own good and that I had done nothing wrong. I found out later why: because my coworkers were uncomfortable around me because they knew before I did about what Aiden was up to. I didn't know anything though, so Aiden and I were raising our 2 girls together and they're the loves of my life. I get to work hybrid from work and I'm able to work remotely at home most of the time so I can be with my girls. On the other hand, Aiden was always traveling in and out of the country, to Thailand, Haiti, Vietnam, and Colombia, taking pictures for different news outlets. When I needed help with the kids, my mother-in-law would come over and help out. Me and Aiden's mom didn't have the closest relationship, but we had a mutual respect for each other. We didn't have to necessarily like each other, but we both loved my daughters and she knew I took damn good care of her son. So later on, when I opened up my husband's laptop, I knew she was the only person I could trust. I was suspicious of Aiden for a couple of months at this point. He would come home past his planned arrival time, and when he did come home he wasn't excited to see me. Every time I tried to initiate spicy time with him, he would tell me that I needed to lose weight. I had gained some from my pregnancy, but I knew I wasn't obese or anything, and that really ruined my self-esteem. I couldn't understand why my husband was being so loveless towards me. I did everything to try to please Aiden. I cooked him his favorite meals for when he got back. I made sure he always came home to a clean house and a welcome back gift basket, and worst of all, I started taking Abi Collagenic Elite to start putting off the weight. After a while of taking Abi, which actually made me lose weight so rapidly, I started second-guessing myself and realized that I wasn't taking these for the right reasons. My husband wanted me skinny for some reason I couldn't explain, so I decided to do some digging. One night when he came back from his trip to Thailand, I did a bit of ethical hacking to unlock his laptop. Some of you might think I'm toxic for invading his privacy. Had I not invaded his privacy, I would have been dead. When I opened up his laptop, I found a folder that said family. I opened it and found pictures of our beautiful daughters. But amidst the photo, there was another folder that said babies. When I opened it, I found hundreds of high-resolution photos of multiple young women gagged up, crying, tied up, in a bunch of real BDSM intimacy that my husband was having with them. He had girlfriends in Thailand and Haiti and practically whatever country he traveled to. Upon further inspection, I saw that he would make them pose with the money he would give them in exchange for being his girlfriends. The worst part? He had his own hidden Twitter page where he posted all of his intimacy adventures. I kept crying as I kept looking, but I couldn't turn away from this. This bastard was using all the camera equipment I bought him to cheat on me. He wanted me to lose weight because he wanted me as skinny and fragile as all his girlfriends. To think that I actually started taking Abi for him and not myself. I downloaded as much evidence I could from his laptop and imported it to a spare laptop I had to show his mother. When I showed my mom-in-law, a part of her wasn't shocked. She was slightly upset but just sighed like she saw this coming. She sat me down and said that this was the exact same reason Aiden was kicked out of college and started working in that coffee shop. During college, He had an intimacy addiction and would sneak cameras in during intimacy and started a page on Twitter where he shared his adventures. I couldn't believe this at all. My babies were not safe with this man and I needed to get out of this quickly, but I needed to do things quietly. I had bags packed in secret from Aiden just in case something went south, but when he came back from his next trip he said something unexpected. He came back with flowers and take-out dinner saying that he felt bad for not being so present in our marriage and wanting to reignite the spark between us, so he bought us tickets to Haiti to go on vacation. Immediate big red flag. I acted like everything was okay and I agreed to go with him soon. I told his mother-in-law and she became very pensive. Even she was confused as to why he would take me to Haiti. She asked if I checked everything from his laptop and I said I wasn't sure, so we looked at all the files we downloaded together. We looked through the photos, search history, settings, and everything until we saw his payment history. There was a recent PayPal transaction of $12,000 to an anonymous name, with the recipient being located in Haiti. I must have been in denial because my first thoughts were it was a resort over there. My mother-in-law, however, told me to call the police immediately. Before I could even ask, she ran to get the phone and called them. She ordered me to take my daughters to her car and together we drove to her house. She wouldn't say what she figured out, and the entire car ride I was bawling my eyes out. She told me that she'd seen his work in Haiti before. He's interviewed local gangs over there and she herself remembered reading an article about a couple who mysteriously had their lives taken from a Haitian gang. Her theory was that he figured out that I found out what I was doing and knew that I was going to divorce him soon. So in order to not get all his money taken and face prison time, he was going to have my life taken in Haiti, so not only would he collect all of my insurance but he would get full custody of our daughters. Luckily my job didn't need me to come into the office for the following week, so I took my girls to a hotel with me that his mom-in-law paid for. She told me that she would handle talking to the police for me. The thing that surprised me the most was how strong she was. I guess she must have been fed up with her son and knew that he himself was an evil she had to stop. Right now, I'm organizing all the evidence with a trash can next to me for when I have to throw up. I'm gonna make sure I take everything from Aiden and that he never sees his daughters ever again.